Hi, everyone. Thank you, Hope, for having me. It's great to be here. I have to say that just hearing Josh and when I got here, I had a fan moment because I was I meet a lot of celebrities, but meeting the guy behind the Pharrell tweet, I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm thrilled to be here. Drop the mic, I'm done. I'm here to talk about social television, what we did with the Vanity Fair Social Club, and just to give you a brief background. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with The Insider. The Insider, started off years ago as the sister show to Entertainment Tonight, and then developing its own voice, covering different content, and then a year and a half ago when I joined The Insider, they were partnering with Yahoo. And they formed this partnership, and it was OMG Insider. But now it's back to the name The Insider, but we're still The Insider with Yahoo. So that being said, when The Insider partnered with Yahoo, the goal and the objective was to create a social television show. Everybody talks about social media. Everybody talks about the importance of social media. I've worked at different studios, and everybody realizes it's important. But then when it comes to actually integrating it into programming, it's hard, it's complicated. Just like he was saying about Arby's, there's a legal process. And social media, as we all know in this room, it's stuff that has to happen now. It's immediate. We have to be able to act. We have to be able to take action. So it's figuring out how to make all that happen. So, I guess the example that Hope asked me to talk about today was the Vanity Fair Social Club. For the Oscars, Vanity Fair is kind of synonymous with the Oscars. When I think Oscars, I think more of the Vanity Fair after party than I do the actual award show. So when I found out that they were doing this social club, I was like, well, you know what? We've built this online community of influencers who I'll explain about later and which Hope is a part of. But I was like, I think that we could really do something together here. I think we can do something that's magical. I think we can do something that, people can feel like they're at the Oscars when they're at home. People can feel like they're at the Vanity Fair Oscar party when they're at home. And that's one of the wonderful things that we have because of social media. So let's do it together. So here's a little clip as to our Oscars coverage, and then I'll go in to explain it more.
Before we go, we are counting down to the Oscars this Sunday.
That's right. We've teamed up with Vanity Fair and their campaign Hollywood for Oscar Week. And Kelsey Knight is here. You got a first look at their first ever social club.
Yeah, Vanity Fair is doing social right. They created a hub in Hollywood at WeWork where bloggers, influencers, and journalists like me can connect to the entire world during Oscar Week using social media.
We expect this to be our biggest week ever. This week alone will generate over 1 billion press impressions for Vanity Fair.
Whoa. There is a Twitter vending machine where literally you tweet and then Armani comes out. It's unbelievable. Also, a healthy snack truck from Chobani and a beauty suite stocked with L'Oreal Cosmetics, and it is unbelievable. Everyone at home, you guys can get in on the fun. Use the hashtag VFSC, and I'll have more for you guys tomorrow from there.
All right, here's a picture that in my mind is destined to become an Oscar classic. It's a backstage Oscar tug-of-war between Lupita and Jennifer Lawrence. By the way, Jennifer was the most tweeted about nominee on the red carpet, the reason being clearly because she almost face-planted, but more than 500,000 mentions. Our Facebook poll actually tracked what you out there thought and who you thought was the best. Look who's on top. Amy Adams with more than 25% of the vote. Lupita and Charlize are neck and neck for second. Look at your buddy, Kate. She's fourth place, not even bronze. She's fourth. Best dressed in the entire award season. The person who needs to drop the mic. Matthew McConaughey. Killed it. Hashtag man style. Hashtag I got an Oscar and a bomb club. Hashtag drop the mic.
Hashtag man crush.
The Insider was actually on Twitter with over 40 million impressions. So, we had to celebrate and do the happy dance. Thanks to our Twitterati and Insider community.
So we love you guys right back.
Our question is a social media question from Angela.
What was the coolest thing about having your mom as a date tonight?
Oh, my mom and my brother were my dates. And the best thing is sharing it with your family.
Now it's time for the Insider Social Sound Off. Hey Insiders, just kick it in with some of our Twitterati, but we asked you who you thought was the Oscars best dressed. Here's what you had to say.
The only one that could have stolen the spotlight from Lady Gaga or Liza Minnelli for that matter, was absolutely Kate Blanchett.
Definitely Lupita. Kristen Chenoweth with her beautiful golden tones.
I'm gonna go with Sandra Bullock.
So, insiders, keep the conversation going on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram 24/7.
So that's kind of like our coverage of the Oscars, and that's like a sizzle of it, was the whole show. But you know, our goal with the show in general, even before the Vanity Fair Social Club, is to really bring the voices of everybody online into the show. It's, you know, we're at a time, everybody says, you know, and it's true, that television is losing viewers to the web. You know, so the big task at hand when someone comes in like me, who's, and I'm not just the supervising producer of the show, I'm supervising producer of social media, by the way. But when someone comes in like me, the goal is, how do we engage our viewers and engage the people who are no longer watching television to bring them back to TV? And you know, what I say, and my answer to that, is that we have to do what they're doing, think what they're thinking, get involved in their conversation. So, you know, when you engage people in your conversation and in the conversation of your brand or your show, then in turn, they'll come back to see it. So, you know, the idea of the Twitterati, I guess, kind of stems from what I did at Ricky Lake, where, you know, it was to kind of bring people together and bring a large group together of influencers. And, you know, I tapped into people who had large audiences who were interested in, like with Ricky, it was in the Ricky Lake brand, and people who were moms, and people who, sorry, I just do the, no, but people who were moms, and people who, you know, were like-minded, and people who wanted to get to know each other. And then it's taking TV and turning it from, you know, just me talking to you, right, to a conversation, and creating it 360, and bringing those people back from online and onto TV. And the people who I look at, where I look at like who's doing it right, you know, is I look at YouTubers. You know, and I look at YouTubers, and the ones who are very successful are the ones who are engaging their audiences. You know, and YouTube, when it comes to what I do, aligns very closely because it's a video format. You're taking video format online and crossing that over, right? So when people respond, the conversation spreads, more people get involved in the conversation. In turn, more people come and watch the YouTube channel, or for me, the television show. So I went and I found influencers, and you know, I engaged, not only engaged them in the conversation, but I listened. You know, I listened to what they wanted to see on TV, how they want to be involved in the show. You know, what is it about it? You know, entertainment news has been on for so long. You know, I'm grateful now to also be working on Entertainment Tonight, but it's like, that was like the first, you know, entertainment news magazine show. You know, I remember when I was little listening to like Mary Hart, like da 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 da, you know what I mean? But the thing is, back then, people weren't used to being involved in content, and now they are. So, you know, with The Insider, it's like, let's create this conversation, and you know, our audience is just as much a part of the show as our hosts. You know, and what people say is just as important. So then when you take it online, and you're in that conversation, you know, if someone says something, not only is it about just the engagement back for me, because that's like a two-way communication, right? It's the show and the viewer, or the show and the person who's, you know, just, maybe they're not watching yet, but maybe they're just active in the online conversation. Maybe they care about Kimye. But the thing is, then it's trying to connect your community and your people together. You know, how do you take your followers and get them to talk to each other? Because that's where I look at the true value in social media. You know what I mean? It's because my thing is, it's like, take an engaged approach as opposed to just a promotional approach, right? Like, we're bringing up an entertainment conversation, and then our viewers are the ones who can then promote us, because they're saying, we like this conversation that's going on at The Insider. You know, like gone are the days when you can send out a tweet and say, buy me, or watch me, or do this. You know, now what it is, because everybody's caught on. Like, everybody's caught on, like the jig is up. You know, and the thing is, it's you have to really care about your viewer. Like I tell all the talent on my show. You know what I mean? It's like, don't just look at it as, your, X amount of followers. Behind every follower is a person. And we're entering like a user-centric time period, no matter what business you're in. Like for me, it's TV. For someone else, it may be real estate. For some, it's all different. But, everybody's caught on to the game. So drop the game. Drop the game. Stop trying to go out and just sell. Really look at it and say, what can I offer you? You have to come at it as a perspective of, I care about you. Like, when I go online, I literally care about every single one of our insider viewers. And I'm not just saying that to, like, give a pitch. You know what I mean? Like, I know people by name. You know what I mean? Like, when I came here today, I was thrilled to see Carpe Diem JBS. I was like, you know what? I'm excited to go there, and I'm going to see her. Because then what happens is those people develop brand loyalty. And they're so connected to you and to your brand, and they talk about you. So then when we go and we put together something like the Vanity Fair Social Club, I can call on those people, and they can come. And they know that they can rely on me to come and have an amazing experience. Like with what I do, like I think a big factor is obviously the celebrity factor. But I think more so than the celebrity factor, more so than the opportunity to get on TV, is the opportunity to connect. Because when we're looking at our online audiences, why are people online in the first place? It's like the questions I ask myself, like, why are people on there? They're on there and they're on Twitter because they want to find out news. They want to find out what's going on. But like deep down, it's all about relationships. Like, we want to connect with one another, And so, I look at this group of the insider Twitterati, and they're more than just people on Twitter who've developed large audiences. Because, whether someone has 200 followers or someone has, 1 million real followers, you know what I mean? It's about the reason why they're there, what they're saying, how they're engaging with their followers. And, so you take all these people and you put them in a room, and what happens and what comes next, I truly believe is social media magic. I watch it, like, call me like a major dork, but it gets me so excited. Because it gets me so excited not only because it helps me do my job, you know what I mean? But I get so excited because I watch these people come into a room, pick up their phones, everybody's live tweeting, they're connecting with each other, they're meeting people that they've known on Twitter for a very long time, or on Instagram or other platforms, and they're all coming together and everybody's having a good time, having a party, and then what they're doing is they're tying in the people at home, and their people at home are getting involved in the conversation. So then, then what we can do is we can say, you know what, our correspondent's on the red carpet, another correspondent's gonna be at the after party, we're watching what's going on. Everyone at home, why don't you send in your Instagram videos? Do you have questions for people after the red carpet? Then we take those questions, get them over to our correspondent, and they can ask at the Vanity Fair after party. And so that's cool, that looks great, that looks beautiful on TV, I think. And I think what we're doing is creating something different. I think we're creating something authentic, and I think that's what people look for now is authenticity. I think, just like I said, people are done with the tweets of just like sell this and or like buy this or do this. I think people are also done with TV that's just like, you know what, this is me telling you what's going on. You know what I mean? People want to be there. They want to be in that conversation. And so then, but what really makes it for social media in terms of what I do is having those people get together, connect their audiences, and then every single time I do something, every single time we do an event, like this coming Sunday, we're gonna go to the Billboard Awards, and we have 20 of our Twitterati are flying into Las Vegas. We're gonna go, the Billboard Awards has never let people go, like social media personalities come, be on the red carpet, come be in the front row at the Billboard Awards. So we're giving them an experience, but in turn, they get to give all of their followers that experience too. They get to bring their audience there with them. So everybody's cheering them on, and then as time unfolds, their audience becomes a loyal audience of The Insider too. Their audience becomes engaged in our brand, our show. And the moment that someone from their community gets involved in my community, when they hear that I talk to them back, what it does is I'm reaffirming the person that brought them in, and I'm validating them and saying, you're following someone who's really wonderful. Because social media, it's not one way. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm reaffirming them and saying that they're wonderful, and you follow them, and now you have the opportunity to engage with us. And now, you know what, like the talent on our show is gonna tweet you, and you matter. What you say matters. What you say is gonna be reflected on the show. When someone tweets the show and it's like, I don't wanna see this on TV anymore. I'm sick of hearing about Kimye. You know what I mean? Like, I don't not respond. I don't tell my talent not to respond. What I always say is, respond, tell the truth. You know what I mean? Like, respond to them and say, everybody tweets us and says they don't want to hear about Kim Kardashian anymore. But the thing is, every time Kim Kardashian's on the show, we rate, people watch. You know what I mean? Because then what it does is it becomes a conversation. And that's, like, social media, like, to me, is baseline. It's about that conversation. And it's about keeping that conversation going. And so, I told Hope I'd also talk a little bit about, like, where I see, like, the future of television and social TV. And I tell everybody I meet that, like, when I first got into this business of doing this in television, I had a lot of people that, like, would look at me and be like, oh, that's the guy who tweets. You know what I mean? Like, that's the guy who tweets, that's the guy who Facebook posts. You know what I mean? It's like, we'll have these meetings and, like, bring him in if we need to, like, promote something. But the times have changed. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm in those meetings first. I'm one of the first people called when they're talking about, like, let's develop something. What are we developing? Because social media matters. All of those voices online, all of those followers, likes, those are people, and those people turn into viewers. And we have a way of reaching them, and the thing is, you can send a message and someone can see it in their stream, but does it matter to them? You know what I mean? Because it's not just about, it's like, yeah, you can get all these impressions, you know what I mean? But it's about what you're putting out there. Does it matter? And it matters if they connect to your brand. It matters if they connect to you. And I feel like what we're doing at The Insider, I feel like people who are engaged with us online feel like and know like they matter, And, as new shows come up, and even what we're, like, things that now I'm working on Entertainment Tonight, and we're looking into developing with Entertainment Tonight, as Entertainment Tonight is going more social, is to really, make our social media stars of today our TV stars of tomorrow. People on social media have a huge voice. We all know that in this room, you know what I mean? But it's like, then what it is going out and, convincing other people at the companies we work for why these voices matter. You know what I mean? And that conversation is such an important conversation to have. I think that's probably the most important conversation that I've ever had in my career. Because then what it did was it gave me a voice to have with my superiors, and in turn, all of the people who are involved in the online communities that I work with have a voice at CBS. They have a voice in terms of, what is the content that we're creating? What are the future shows that we're creating? Because, as two entertainment shows and as a network and studio, we listen. And, so, and the other thing I wanted to talk about, I have no idea about time. But, 5 minutes. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is the advancements in mobile, and just because A, it's such an important way that we're all connecting, but B, like, it's where everything is shifting to. So, when I'm, like, creating things for our online communities and even, future stuff for our shows. It's like mobile is so important. I'm sure everybody in this room knows that anyways already, but it's so important and it's so integral. And I think that, looking at ways that people can engage with, for me, my show, for you, maybe your brand, through their mobile phone, is essential. And that's one of the reasons why we started the Social Sound Off, because I was like, it's a way of letting people know that, A, the show is gonna be on tonight, so let's get engaged with that. But, and also you can be on the show, and your voice does matter. It kind of lines up with all of the things that I like to hit, but, at the same point, it's something that people can do in their car. It's something that people, it's like everybody talks about how, they call it like the carpool line gamification. Like, give something for moms that are sitting in the carpool line that they can do. And the thing is, it's so fun, it's so active, and it's like if you literally, no matter, it literally can go across almost any brand, but if you think of something that people can do that takes 2 minutes, that they can be involved with you, that then you take and you return to them, it becomes an activity that they can do anywhere. Like my sister, who is not someone who is really online all of that much, she finds it fun to go on, and she's not even necessarily creating them, but she loves to go on and look and see everybody's responses to these sound offs, So that's why mobile is important. The other thing I want to talk about is, when I'm creating my ideas for social media for the show and ways to integrate it into the show, a lot of people always say oh, it's so important to look at your competitors. And this is, again, something that goes across brand no matter what you're doing. But everybody says, oh, it's so important to look at your competitors. What are they doing? And, I take a look at what my competitors are doing, but I think that truly what's more important than looking at your competitors is listening to your audience. Because they'll tell you, people are really, as we all know, so blunt on social media. They'll tell you what they want to do, what they want to see, how they want to do it. And then, it's our jobs to, create that experience for them, And the thing is, people talk about social media experts, social media gurus, and realistically, we're all in this together. Social media is ever evolving. It's always changing. It's like everybody learns just as much from everyone else, and every person who's on social media has something that that I can learn from. You know what I mean? And I look at it as a learning experience for my job or just personally. And so. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. I'm used to being behind the computer, not talking in front of everybody. I was joking with my host before I came. I was I actually have to speak in front of a lot of people. Because when you do it in college classes and stuff, it's a small group, and I'm tweet me during the thing, and we'll tweet back and forth. Okay, so. But yeah, with the competition, so the other thing that I think is so essential, and I think that it really does apply to brands. And I have a lot of friends that work at a lot of different brands and people I've met through social media, and I think what's so important and so crucial for all of us to keep in mind is that it's not necessarily just trying to find the best thing that our competition's doing and then try to do it, even if our bosses may say that. Even if our bosses may say, oh my God, but did you see what they were doing? We should be doing that too. And the thing is to really create your own voice and create something that you're doing that's unique. And so really when you listen to your audience, you can come up with that. You can come up with what's something that works for you? What's something that works for you that nobody else is doing? Because on social media, we all love, we love what's new. You know what I mean? It's everybody loves something that's bright, shiny, and new. So be the one to create it. You know what I mean? Be the one to go and say, you know what? I'm gonna go and search these platforms. I know that, right? You take all the social media platforms, right? And you say, my demo is on this platform and this platform. So those are the ones where I want to go and have this conversation with them. What can we do? How can we utilize these platforms in a really unique, friendly user experience way and do something? You know what I mean? It's I always say people are, so quick to say oh, you need to jump and try to get on this platform and get on this platform. And I think while I think it's so essential and crucial to have like a multi-platform social media plan, what you really need to do too is consider like, where are my viewers? Like most of my viewers are like 25 to 54, right? While I obviously want to like tap the younger audience too. So I think like, okay, like what are the things that we can do where we can bring people in who are younger, but like my typical audience, like what can I do with them on Facebook? You know what I mean? Like what can I do with them on, you know, Twitter, Instagram? But like as new platforms comes up, I always say like be on top of it, be on your game, know what's going on, create an account, like talk to people. But like when you're doing like a huge campaign that you're trying to put together, put your campaign together where you know your people are. You know, put your campaign together in a way where people can engage easily. You know, and then at that, walk them through it. You know, like when we started the social sound off, you know, people were like, from other shows, were like, oh, well, that's never gonna work to do every day because people aren't actually gonna wanna take the time to make an Instagram video every day. You know what I mean? And people aren't gonna wanna, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna be able to get them, cut them, you know, get them approved, get all the legal process, all of that in time before your show goes out at noon. You know what I mean? And I was like, where there's a will, there's a way. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know, what matters more than me, like my day starts at 4:30 in the morning. You know, I'm exhausted. Our show goes out at noon, and I'm still working at like 10 o'clock at night. That's why I loved that question before when someone was asking him about like, how do you balance your life and still do social media? Because I want the answer too. But, oh, sorry, I'm like going over. But, you know, anyways, bottom line, I want like just, you know, like from like what really, like I love what I do. I love social media. And the thing that, like my baseline is that metrics matter. You know, metrics matter because we go and we take them to our bosses. You know, metrics matter because, you know, that's how advertisers engage, right? But really, really, like what matters is the user experience. Because the user experience creates loyalty. Like the loyalty creates an ongoing conversation, and that ongoing conversation is what will get you the metrics. So don't go just trying to chase a number. You know what I mean? Even if your boss may tell you that, or like wherever, you know what I mean? It's like really, at the end of the day, it's about the user experience. It's about the fact that on the other end of all of those tweets, on the other end of all those Facebook posts, on those Instagram, those are real people. You know, and what do they want? And how do they want to get involved? And how can you serve them? Not just how can they buy your product or buy your brand or watch your television show. So, if any questions?
Let's take a couple minutes for questions. So let's give